It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 127. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday. May the 4th be with you, 2025. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world today. Thank you so much for being here. The first order of business, though, is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. I've been streaming every Sunday afternoon, USA Eastern Standard Time, for a couple of hours. So come check me out playing some video games, or come by and just say hello if you'd like to. And if you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. And then Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And for today's show, we have our three sections as always. The first section, I'm going to tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The middle section, I am going to tell you what is going on around the video game world. So the middle section, as always, is the video game news section. All the rumors, speculation, details, happenings, releases, everything you need to know in the middle section each week. And the third and final section is the Miscellaneous Talk section, which is a break from the video game talk, and usually where I get into the worldwide world of sports, and today that will be the case as well. So just thank you so much for being here, and let's get into it. So what have I been playing in my video game world over here? So I did stream last Sunday, like I mentioned, and last Sunday I played Balatro. So I've been playing Balatro a few of these Sundays alongside watching the Atlanta Braves game. So I've been streaming, having the score pulled up, and then playing Balatro and watching the game and doing a little bit of multitasking there. So been having some fun with that, but I'm coming to learn that I might just stink at Balatro, and I don't know if I'm going to get over it or get any better at it, but I've been trying to change up my tactics a little bit, been getting some advice. I've been told that some viable hands to play would be a flush run, a full house run, or a four of a kind. So I think those are things that can accommodate my play style somewhat. And so I've been choosing to focus on those a little bit, trying to make some progress in Balatro. So I've played a lot of Balatro since it's released. I haven't had too much success with it. I've mainly been playing the red deck, trying to push through on that and having fun with it, but just realizing that I haven't really made too much progress on this game. So I don't know. I don't know if that's going to end up deterring me in the future from playing more of this, but I do like the idea of playing alongside the Braves game, but I do miss playing Breath of the Wild like I was doing. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the stream today, but either way, I'm going to be streaming today on twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show if you want to check me out, possibly playing some Balatro. So trying to get some advice, trying to get better at Balatro, and just definitely a great video game, though, if you want to go check it out. So what else have I been playing? So I subscribed to Game Pass for a month in order to play this game, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. So I've been playing a lot of this, actually. This has been the main game I've been playing. I'm a Nord Archer. I've been going strong in this game. I'm adding some sneak in there too. And I guess this is the game of the year so far for me. This is the newest game. I know it's not a new game, it's a remaster, but this is totally the game that has been released this year that I've been enjoying the most. So it's pretty strange to think that this could be the game of the year for me on the Dep Lewis Show, but this is a blast from the 2006 past. But this is an excellent remaster. I've been having a whole lot of fun with it. I gotta say, I do remember most of this game, which is pretty surprising, but this is one of my favorite video games of all time, so I guess that's not too uncommon, but it really is. It's a nice blast of nostalgia, and I think they've done a good job updating this game with some modern features. So I think one of the things especially noticing is the load screen. So I think that's something that the Xbox Series X just does exceptionally well in general. But having this game, you have to load a lot, like going into different areas, going into different houses, and that screen is pretty snappy in this remaster. So that's been a nice change. The open world stuff feels good. I think the running around feels good. I like the change between third and first person still. And this has been one of the first first person games I've played in a long time. So it's been super enjoyable. The music in this game is amazing. The quest lines in this game are fun. It's a lot of times in video games, you're just going to be told, hey, go talk to someone, hey, go pick this up and bring it back. And you can boil a lot of missions down to that kind of thing if you want to. But this game has a certain charm to it and charm to the missions. You don't exactly know what's going to happen. There's some oddball characters in this world, and I just think it's a wonderful video game. The medieval setting is super cool. The weapons are cool. The armor's cool. The characters in the world are quirky. The missions are fun. The open world stuff is fun. I've been mainly playing as an archer and having fun with the combat, so that's something that I've been enjoying that I haven't been enjoying in a lot of video games recently. It's just straight up combat, and that is something that I do enjoy in this video game. So I've been a little bit more on the RPG side of things lately, and having some more like third person, first person action combat. Shooting the bow with these fools has been fun, and I've been pretty much sticking to being an archer. Even indoors, I've been being an archer because I built my marksman up so much, and it's kind of the most deadly thing I'm operating with in this video game. So this game's cool too. It's a cool reminder of RPGs like this, where if you use your skill, you gain more skill. So if you're jumping around the world, you're gaining some acrobatics. If you're using your bow and arrow a lot, you're gaining in your marksman skill and things like that. So it really is fun. In that regard, you can always be making some progress in some type of way with your character, even if you're just wandering around the open world hunting things, or then if you're doing the main missions as well. So I've been pushing through, trying to think what else I've been thinking about this game. I haven't really figured out the Oblivion gates. I don't remember that completely from back in the day. They have some that you're designed to do through the main story, but there's also just random Oblivion gates throughout the world. So I've gone into a few of those over my open world exploring, but I haven't figured out how to solve them. So I don't remember what the key to solving the Oblivion gates is, and the Oblivion gates in the open world are. I don't know what the solution is. I think that's the right way to say that. Might be something I have to look up, because I do remember back in the day this being annoying, or being one of the more taxing parts of this video game. But I think I did close all of the gates, or most of them, back in the day. I think I played this game pretty complete back in the day. I put a ton of hours into it, and I've already been slipping a bunch of hours into it with this new remaster. So I don't have any intention on how much of this video game I'm going to play. I've just been pushing along with it, just at my leisure kind of thing, and it's been something I've been wanting to boot up. So it's been a really great video game. I gotta say, I think it is the video game of the year for me so far. I think the only other video game I've played is Monster Hunter Rise, and there's possibly one other new game I've played, but there's not been too much in contention. But there's going to be a lot of big contenders coming later this year, so I can imagine Oblivion Remastered getting knocked down, but it should be on some type of list for me at the end of the year, I gotta say, with the way it's going. So a really fun game, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. All right, another game I've been playing alongside, so I've been having kind of two games going back and forth. One's been the Oblivion Remaster, the other one has been the Persona 3 Reload. I guess that's kind of a remaster too, but I've been playing this. This has kind of been my conundrum this week. So I told you I subscribed to a month of Game Pass to play Oblivion, and that also allows me to be able to play Persona 3 Reload on Game Pass, which is how I originally started playing this game. And so that is my furthest file. So I have my original file here on the Xbox, and then later on down the road, many months later, I bought a copy for PlayStation, and that's the one I kind of started playing recently. So I have kind of two files of Persona 3 Reload going. One is on the expiring Game Pass, but it is my file that is further along. And it's kind of further along, maybe by double. I think I'm maybe 15 hours into that file. I'm maybe only 6 hours into my PlayStation 5 file. So it's a little bit of a, which one do I play? But I don't know. So a little bit of a stupid conundrum. But I've been finding myself playing both versions. So I think I've just been really enjoying this game. I've been enjoying the going to Tartarus part more. So you have the open world game where you're going around making your social connections, talking to people and doing things like that. But when you want to get into the combat and start exploring the dungeons, it's a place you go to called Tartarus. So you go there, you're exploring different floors. There's different enemies on each floor. There's different treasure chests on each floor, and you're making your way up, trying to solve the mystery or tackle what's going on in this crazy world. And I've been having more fun going to the combat section. It's been fun. So the combat in this game is really, really cool. It has the turn-based combat in there, so you're fighting the weaknesses. But also when you're walking around Tartarus, you can also attack enemies in the open world. So, well, no, that's not true. You can attack them, and it helps you get an advantage in battle. I must be confusing this with another game where I think it was the Secret of Mana game I was playing, the remaster of that, where you can actually fight in the open world, and then you can also trigger the turn-based combat. But I might just be mashing things up in my brain right now. But I've been playing a lot of this game. The music in the game's fun. The Tartarus combat's fun. The open world stuff's fun. The connections, the social stuff in here is fun. All the things, the ways you can spend your day. I've been going to work at the coffee shop. I've been going to the video game store. I've been singing karaoke. I've been hanging out with some of the friends in this game. Been hanging out when they hit me up. And it has just kind of like a real natural progression in this game of how you're living your life in there. And I think it's pretty cool. And it shows that you can't really do everything. You can't specialize in everything. You're going to miss out on some opportunities when you choose another opportunity. And I think it just kind of mirrors the real world in that way. And I think it's pretty interesting in this game. So Persona 3 Reload has been extremely fun. I think it has an impeccable art style. The art style in this game, the UI, the menus, the character design. I think just looking at this game and listening to it is a joy. It's my pleasure. If I worked at Chick-fil-A is what I would say to this game while I'm playing it. So Persona 3 Reload has been super fun. Another game I just find myself booting up. I don't have any huge intentions on trying to finishing it, but trying to finish it. But I would love to be able to finish a Persona game at some point, and I am trying my best right now at Persona 3 Reload. So that's been everything I've been playing. This is the year of no direction on the show for me. The past 2 years for the podcast, I've had kind of like a theme. So the first one was the year of survival horror. The second one was the year of the RPG. So this one I decided to go the year of no direction. The year started off really retro for me. I guess it's kind of gone back into a remastered. I think a lot of the games we're playing these days are remastered. So it's been a year of no direction, but the direction for me right now is waiting on the Nintendo Switch 2. So I am definitely in a holding pattern for the Nintendo Switch 2, trying to play other things that are in my ever-growing backlog. I have tons of games I can play, and I've been making some progress. So I'm happy with my week in the video game world. I don't know what I think about Balatro at this point. I love that video game, but I just think I'm bad at it and may just need to accept that. But that could be kind of a defeatist attitude. I've been having a lot of fun with the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, and I've been having fun with Persona 3 Reload. So that has been everything going on with me. I'm trying to think if I have anything in particular going on with me in the upcoming week. I kind of plan on playing both of these games in the upcoming week. I have Game Pass until a couple more weeks in May, and I've thought about possibly buying the Oblivion Remastered and just, playing my Persona 3 game on the PlayStation, but I don't know. I've been having some fun with these, and I think these have been some great holdovers until the Nintendo Switch 2 releases. So that's everything I've been playing. That's going to wrap up the intro in the first section to the show, and just thank you so much for listening. So we're going to come back after this quick break, and I'm going to get into the video game news. Everything you need to know about the video game world going on is going to be in the midsection of this show, and you definitely don't want to miss it, so come right back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 127. This is where I tell you about what is going on around the video game world that you need to know. And there has been a lot of news this week, so, put your seatbelts on, get your popcorn ready, strap in, hunker down. It's time for some news. So the first bit of news here, I would say it's not too surprising, but the news here is that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed. So this game has been delayed. We have an official date for it now, which is nice. So previously, we just thought this game was coming out in 2025, but now Rockstar has told us that this game has been delayed, and it's going to release on May 26, 2026. So a little over a year away before we can all play GTA 6. So Rockstar has said that we are very sorry that this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding a new GTA has been truly humbling for our entire team. We want to thank you for your support and your patience as we work to finish this game. With every game we have released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is no exception. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. We look forward to sharing more information with you soon. Sincerely, love, peace, Rockstar Games. So, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed. Not too surprising here since we haven't had an official date. It's already May. They said 2025. You kind of think we would have a date if there was one already. So not too much of a shock here. It gets a little bit out of the way of the Switch 2 release, which I think is nice. So give everyone some time to enjoy their Switch 2, have all the hype and hysteria and mania of the Switch 2 releasing over the summer and then into the holiday season. And then a couple months later, start the new year. And then really, I guess they want the world to start thinking about GTA around May of next year. So GTA 6 has been delayed by Rockstar. Pretty big news this week, and that is going to be releasing on May 26, 2026. So now, I guess the question would be, does everyone think that they're going to actually hit this date? And I would say I think they're going to. I think this is definitely, there has to be multiple reasons or levels in here of why they're delaying this, but possibly I think the game being in a bad state is not the complete reason here. I don't think the game is in a terrible state that they're just needing time to fix it, or I think they're just using this time strategically to make the game better when they can, and finding a really great release window for this giant video game coming out that's going to garner the attention of the entire video game world and going to garner the attention of people outside the video game world as well. This is like a cultural event when these games release. So they have a lot of pressure on them, and taking time to make sure the product is going to be good is very important here, because that's part of the equation here. This game has a lot of hype, and they've been delivering on the hype over the years, and that definitely could provide a lot of pressure, but I think they're well equipped to do it, and we can play Grand Theft Auto 6 right now, according to them, on May 26, 2026. So a year and 22 days away if you were listening to this in real time. So that's a pretty big bit of news to start off the show. Another bit of news that happened last week. This one, very controversial. I don't think anyone's too happy about this. And Xbox has decided to update some prices. And no, it is not a price cut. They are updating the prices on some consoles and accessories up to $100 in some cases. So I have a lot of examples here. The main one to know is if you're buying like a Series X, which is $499.99, that is now going to be $599.99. So a lot of the consoles are seeing increases in prices here over the Xbox family. Some of the accessories are seeing price increases as well. Some of the Elite controllers, the headset is getting a price increase. And then all the consoles, it looks like, are getting price increases as well. So sort of shocking. This console's been out for 5 years, and I don't think it's been selling very well. We've definitely seen sales on this console as well. So just a surprising thing to see a price increase, and a little bit baffling. I don't know if it's to try to... I really don't. I don't know if I can explain this. I heard, I'm a fan of a YouTuber and a person named Heckin' Steve, and he brought up that he thinks that the pricing, that Microsoft doesn't want their pricing as close to the Nintendo Switch 2, that they want to differentiate their product from that, and having it so close could be some, can make it a little bit cloudy out there in the market. And I think that's a pretty good take on this. And ultimately, I think this is just a chance for them to get more money. But, if it's not selling well, why are they raising the price? I don't know. It's just a little bit mysterious to me of why this is happening. You kind of would almost expect a price decrease at some of these consoles at some point, or maybe we would get... I guess a decrease is not going to be happening, but we've seen the uproar over the Nintendo Switch 2, and maybe this Microsoft just decided to jump in and say, hey, we'll come in and get a little bit of that hate as well. They got some hate, but they're surviving it. Maybe we can do the same thing. So I don't know. I don't think this is anything besides a company trying to cash grab a little bit more, but I don't know how well this is going to work. This kind of makes it seem like they don't want you buying their console. I don't know. It's just kind of it's a little bit of an unusual thing, and I keep saying that, but I'm a little bit confused by this. So what they have told us about this, what Microsoft has said, as of May 1st, we have adjusted recommended retailer pricing for our consoles and controllers worldwide. We also expect to adjust pricing on some of our new first-party games starting this holiday season to $79.99 US, that $80 price point that Nintendo has introduced. Those titles purchased on the Xbox Store have the benefit of Xbox Play Anywhere, allowing players to buy once and play on console and PC at no additional cost. We understand that these changes are challenging, and they were made with a careful consideration given market conditions and the rising cost of development. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play games across any screen and ensuring value for Xbox players. So I think the part they're missing here is that most gamers aren't trying to play across 9 million screens. I think we just want to play the game on one screen most of the time, and they're passing a little bit of this cost along to us, where these might be things we're not actually using. So I don't know. All this stuff in the video game world is expensive. It's getting more and more expensive by the day, and the only thing in my mind that's really negative is when I start thinking about like a phone. And it's been a long, long time since I've ever wanted to get the most recent phone. I don't even look at the specs of it. I don't even really not interested in it. My current phone still works fine. When I upgrade, I don't want to pay the money for the most expensive one, and I kind of feel that's the way my perspective on consoles is going to go at some point in the near future. And I think it might be the way they intend for it to go that way, but a little bit of a weird thing. And even thinking through it here, so they're increasing the price of their consoles. It's been 5 years. The console has not been selling well. We have a new release of a Switch 2 coming out. So just releasing the price just to not be close to the Switch 2 price, I mean, that kind of makes sense, but it just seems ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm going to say, everyone loves to say follow the money. I think this is probably just a money grab. I think maybe we will see PlayStation follow suit. But right now you can go from PlayStation directly for $399.99 to $400. You can buy a digital PlayStation 5 with Astrobot. I think that's one of the better deals in video gaming right now if you're looking to buy a new console. So I want to point you towards that. If you are in the market right now for buying a console, one of these new consoles, and you don't have one, the PlayStation 5 is an amazing, outstanding console. If you're willing to go digital, there to start. I think you can buy the add-on for the disk drive if you'd like to with that version, but $400 for the PlayStation 5 and a copy of Astrobot, which won Game of the Year on this show last year, and I still think that holds up. It's an outstanding, wonderful video game. I think that would be a great introduction if you are looking to get into some gaming or wanting to upgrade if maybe you haven't bought a new console in a while. So things to think about. I think these things are expensive. I think all of this is expensive. There's no doubt about that, but this is, me trying to figure out the reasons of why they're increasing the prices on this. And I really can't say I have a good one besides that they would just like to get some extra money on the few sales they're having of their console. But this does a little bit rub me the wrong way. I was having a resurgence here with my Xbox, playing it a lot lately, but this one, it's just strange. I guess their marketing is a little bit, it's like they're, I don't know. It's not taking care of your core fan base a little bit here. It's like marketing to people outside of your core fan base, and it kind of leaves your core fan base feeling a little bit like, hey, what about me? So it's not like it's an awful thing. We're just talking about video games here, but I think it could drive some people away, and I could be even speaking for myself here a little bit. So Xbox has gone up in price. Interesting to see. We've talked about their new console coming out in the next couple of years, so it's just strange. The video game world of pricing is strange. I think it's just all going up. I think everyone's kind of jumping on each other's back. If one company, it's like monkey see, monkey do. One company increases their prices, another company's executive board looks at it and says, hey, we should follow suit. Nintendo's getting that. They realize you're going to get some hate for a while, but you're going to, the sun will come up tomorrow kind of attitude. And it's very greedy. It's annoying. And it's something that you have to be more conscious of as time goes forward, of spending your hard-earned cash on these consoles. And a lot of these times they aren't, there's a lot of great games out here, but I don't know. They're not giving us many reasons to, the Xbox, I don't know. They're just going to try to sell you the Game Pass. But I think it's just kind of crazy that they have a price increase, and that is my take on that. So what else is going on in the video game world? So, those are both kind of bad news stories. GTA delayed, that's kind of bad. I would like that game to be out, but, not good news. Xbox pricing update going up in price, not good news. And the next 3 stories I have for you are not good news. So a little bit of a negative Nancy podcast here. And these next topics are something a little bit close to my heart. We're going to get there close to my heart, but we're going to talk about the first one. So, a lot of these are some tougher stories. So EA has had some layoffs, impacting around 300 individuals, with roughly 100 being from Respawn. So Respawn Entertainment was founded in 2010 and has been owned by EA since 2017. The creators of Titanfall, a great video game. So these EA layoffs, the roughly 100 jobs impacted at Respawn included individuals in development, publishing, and QA workers on Apex Legends, as well as smaller groups of individuals working on the Jedi team, and 2 canceled incubation projects, which one has been rumored to be a multiplayer first-person shooter, and the other one is the next Titanfall game, so I guess Titanfall 3. Wider cuts largely impacted EA's Experiences team, which includes groups such as EA's Fan Care team and various others working on customer support and marketing, though other EA departments saw reductions as well. As with other cuts at EA, those impacted will be given the opportunity to apply for other roles internally prior to being let go. And then they also say, as part of our continued focus, I love a good layoff. I love a good layoff quote from a company. They're always sort of similar, and they just say the same thing without really saying anything at all. So the one from EA for this one is, as part of our continued focus on our long-term strategic priorities, we've made select changes within our organization that more effectively aligns teams and allocates resources in service of driving future growth. An EA spokesperson said in an official statement, "We are treating our people with care and respect throughout this process, working to minimize impacts by helping affected employees explore new opportunities within the company when possible, and providing support during the transition." So very, very boilerplate, cookie cutter statement there, and that is what you get with these companies. These things are very harsh, and we see them very often, and it is not a surprise, but it is sad. And I think all these layoffs are going to amount to something with the video game world. We can see the writing on the wall here, but in a couple years down the road, being removed for some of this stuff, seeing all these layoffs, I think we're really going to see the effect of this. We're going to see some changes in the video game world. Everybody likes to talk about there being an imminent crash coming. I think there's definitely something coming. I don't know if it's a crash. I didn't live through the crash back in the 80s or whatever it was, but I think I think there is something coming to a head in the video game world, and it is a mix of greed and increasing demands, and I don't know. there's a lot to it out here in the world, but these layoffs are always sad. I do not like seeing people lose their job abruptly, and it has taken place a lot over the video game industry. So we've been seeing a whole lot of this over the video game industry. Over the 2.5 years in this podcast, I have reported countless layoffs, countless restructurings, countless realignments, and it all ends up in people having to scramble to try to secure their own well-being. So definitely T's and P's to all those people affected by this, and just something to monitor over here on this video game world. So EA has laid off a lot of people, around 300 individuals. So some more layoffs that have taken place have been across the video games media. So Polygon has announced some layoffs. I guess they have not announced them, but they have happened. And Polygon has actually been acquired. So the video game website Polygon has been sold to Valnet, and much of its masthead has been laid off. This was reported by Kotaku, was the article I was reading. The sale was subsequently announced in a press release. Multiple staff members have posted online about losing their jobs or about colleagues now being out of work. The sale was confirmed in a press release, but did not mention the layoffs. Price of the deal was not disclosed. Polygon was founded in 2012 under Vox Media. They are into reviews, reporting, and cultural analysis in the world of gaming. And then Valnet, the company that has purchased them, is based in Montreal and operates Screen Rant, Game Rant, comic book resources, and other mass aggregators, a website or program that collects related items of content and displays them or links to them. Ooh. So pretty crazy. I'm sad for all the people losing their jobs at Polygon. The video game media landscape is a disaster at this point, and I think these companies don't know what to do with some of these outlets, and I think they're missing the mark on these, on how to handle these. But thoughts and prayers to everyone laid off at Polygon. And then the other one that has been the other big news of the week is something that is close to my heart, and that is GiantBomb.com. So there have been, this kind of seems like the end of GiantBomb, and I kind of would hope it would be the end, and that is probably a little bit negative, but they're trying to they're doing some dirty things over there to that website that I care about, and I'm here to tell you about. So GiantBomb.com launched in 2008. It was created by Jeff Gerstmann and Ryan Davis, originally part of Whiskey Media. The website was acquired by CBS Interactive in March 2012 before being sold to Red Ventures in 2020, then to Fandom in 2022. So Fandom is the current owner of GiantBomb.com. Fandom is a wiki hosting service that hosts wikis mainly on entertainment topics, video games, TV series, movies, entertainers, etc. It's a privately held for-profit Delaware company. It was founded in 2004 by Wikipedia co-founder Jimmy Wales and Angela Beasley. Fandom was acquired in 2018 by TPG Inc. and John Miller through Integrated Media Co. So the news with GiantBomb this week is Fandom has not been allowing them to stream anymore. So their streams were abruptly cut off, and GiantBomb got onto a hardcore streaming schedule recently. They were like, hey, we want to be there for you during your workday. All the people during the week that are working from home, we know people like to watch this kind of content, and we're going to try to be there for you. They did that for maybe a couple weeks, and then everything on their site and YouTube and Twitch and everything kind of went radio silent. And then they had a update from the social media that says, hey, we're not doing any more streams currently. And then I think the podcast was off for a week and then came back, and there was a podcast that was uploaded last week in the Giant Bombcast, and it was the crew of the Bombcast basically trashing the new guidelines put in place by Fandom for the podcast. So the Fandom overlords have come down to the podcast, the Giant Bombcast, which has been going on since 2008, and have said that, hey, we need more brand safe content in this. We need PG-13 content in this. You can only say one F word per 7 minutes. It was really, really detailed down to the crazy minutia of when you could say a word, how often. So just extremely ridiculous, extremely insulting to the fans of GiantBomb.com and to these employees as well. So I don't think any of this has come out officially, but it seems like Jeff Grubb is no longer with GiantBomb. I don't know if he was fired or if he walked out. I think Dan Reichert is in the same situation, no longer with GiantBomb, and I don't know what is left over there. So just very sad to see. GiantBomb has been something I've been following since its inception. I don't think I would be here podcasting without the Giant Bombcast, without the creation of it. It's been hugely inspiring to me over the years to get into this. When Jeff Gerstmann was fired from Giant Bombcast 2.5 years ago and started his own thing, that is when I started this show. So definitely some connections there to me, just like emotionally, just something that's been a big part of my life, a great form of entertainment, something that's been a constant for a long time. I mentioned before, I used to listen to the Giant Bombcast multiple times in a week back in those days. It was when everyone didn't have a podcast, including people like myself. So back in those days, I only had might have been the only podcast I followed, and I would listen to that podcast multiple times a week. And then the introduction of the Beastcast, you used to get the Bombcast and the Beastcast in the same week. Those things eventually ended. Jeff Gerstmann got fired from GiantBomb, and that was when I really quit following them or being as loyal and keeping up with day to day with what's going on with them. But they definitely had a resurgence. So when Dan Riker was brought back on as creative director in the Jeff Grubb era, and Backlard moving up the chain and keeping them together, I think there's still been a lot of great things done at GiantBomb. I was actually been enjoying it more recently than I have been in a long time, and this was, a little bit of a wind out of the sails moment here for the GiantBomb Nation. So, shame on their corporate overlords. Shame on them for handling it this way. I think it's crazy that you're going to try to put restrictions on a podcast that's been operating one way for so long. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's very, very stupid to think that anyone's going to listen to that, or even the employees are going to put up with it. So it's just a lot of these things. I think these people in power or in positions are trying to push you out without trying to do so. They want to do it in a passive aggressive or a sly kind of way. They're trying to get you to make a decision or upset you instead of just doing the right thing So I think there's a lot of cowardice in this stuff. I think it's a lot of bad leadership. It's a lot of bad decision making. I think it's new people coming in, not knowing what they have. And that is not a fault of these people out here actually doing the work. So I think it's ridiculous. I think you should read the room. I think you should have some context. I think you should understand the decision you're making before you make it. And if you are going to make such a hard, calculated decision, just do that. Don't do it in some kind of meandering way or trying to put these changes on something that's been taking place. Just cut the head off the snake if you're going to do it that way. And that's kind of my take on GiantBomb. I think it should cease to exist if it's going to be operated this way. And I can't see why anybody would want to be a part of it. I can't see why anybody would want to support it at this point. And it's ridiculous. And the other good part about this, though, is many of the people who have gone through the doors of GiantBomb have their own outlets that you can go support right now. You can go support most of these people independently. The Jeff Gerstmann Show, the Nextlander Podcast, the Fire Escape Cast, Remap has Patrick Klepek over there. I'm trying to think. MinMax is another great outlet. I don't think there's anybody from GiantBomb there, but there's a bunch of great outlets, and specifically you can go follow outlets from people who have been through GiantBomb. You can watch Abby Russell on the streams with Nextlander. Drew Scanlon still does things. I'm trying to think who else is out there. You can go support these people. So that is the good thing here. I think this is a great time for a line in the sand with GiantBomb. I don't think anyone's going to be supporting this. I think if they do want to keep functioning forward, I think it would be respectable for them to change the name. I think that's pretty ridiculous, and that's my take on it. So just sad to see. It's sad to see Jeff Gerstmann on a podcast talking about this. You can definitely see the regret from him of selling this back in the day, making some of those decisions, and he was clearly saying that it still kind of keeps him up at night a little bit, and that is definitely sad to see from someone who has given a lot of great content over the years to a lot of people. So it's sad to see them being sad and going through the situation and being a little bit helpless in that situation as well. So just T's and P's to all those people. Shout out to all of them. They all do wonderful work. They're all very smart. They're funny. They're good at playing video games, and they provide entertainment that people care about. And that's more than a lot of other people can say. So definitely care about the GiantBomb. Definitely care about those creators, and sad to see what they're going through right now. So, shout out to GiantBomb out there. I don't know what's going to take place with them in the future, but I'll keep you up to date with what has been made. I feel like there needs to be something that's been decided over there, and they're just in a waiting period. So I'll definitely keep you up to date. I don't think it's going to be anything good. And please go follow those creators on other platforms if you would like to. I would highly recommend that. I think they do wonderful things over there. So, thoughts and prayers to all those people is the main thing I want to say. And what else do I want to say about GiantBomb as I'm getting myself together here? I don't know. I just really enjoy them. I enjoy video game podcasts in general. It's the reason I'm doing this. And it's fun to hear people talk about stuff you care about, maybe in different ways, maybe in similar ways, maybe try things out. It's just fun. So you got to have some fun in life, and that is the thing that some of these bits of news are not. They're not fun. So shout out to GiantBomb. Shout out to all those people. Shout out to Jeff Gerstmann. I would say he is I'm going to just say the GOAT to me of the video game podcasting. And please go follow and support, and especially give him some support these days. It's sad to think of him being sad about this when he has done so good. So, go Jeff. All right. What else is going on in the video game world? So, I want to tell you about some other things today. I think that ends the kind of sad news for the midsection of the show this week. And I just want to tell you about a couple things coming up in May. So the calendar is now flipped to May. We are in a new month. I am over here waiting on the Switch 2, just like everybody else, but there are still other video games coming out. There's still other platforms. In May, there are 2 pretty big releases. I don't know if I'm going to play either one of these releases myself right away, but I'm definitely going to be following along. Happy to watch other people play these and just see kind of the reception to these. And the first one is Doom: The Dark Ages, and that comes out on May 15th. It's coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC. It is the prequel to the critically acclaimed Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal I think Doom Eternal was 2021, that tells an epic cinematic story of the Doomslayer's rage. Players will step into the blood-stained boots of the Doomslayer in this never-before-seen dark and sinister medieval war against hell. So developer id Software, published by Bethesda. And Doom: The Dark Ages is going to be $69.99. And this one is on Game Pass as well, so anybody who's paid for Game Pass to play Oblivion recently or to play Clair Obscur Expedition 33 will have the privilege of playing Doom: The Dark Ages if they would like to on May the 15th on Game Pass. All right, another big release for May is Elden Ring Nightreign. That's coming out at the end of the month, May 30th, for PlayStation 5, Xbox, and PC. It is the standalone adventure within the Elden Ring universe, crafted to offer players a new gaming experience by reimagining the game's core design. Developer From Software and published by From Software Inc. and Bandai Namco Entertainment. This game's going to be $39.99 US, and I think a lot of people who like Elden Ring and play multiplayer games are going to be in Elden Ring heaven over here with the Nightreign. So those are the 2 biggest releases, according to me, that are coming out in May, and I just wanted to kind of put them on your radar here as we start off the month. So that was Doom: The Dark Ages and Elden Ring Nightreign. All right, so what else has happened over the past week? We got a few more updates here. Borderlands 4 had a state of play. I did not actually end up watching this, but it took place last week on April 30th. It's around 20 minutes in length and showing off some Borderlands 4. So in that special state of play presentation, creative director Graeme Timmins and senior project producer Anthony Nicholson showed off the deepest ever look at Borderlands 4 explosive, carnage-filled gameplay, including 4 new Vault Hunters, the wildest weapons ever according to them, the new traversal mechanics, and seamless new planet to explore. So Borderlands 4, the news here, or a bit of new information here, was this game is going to release on September 12th, 2025, and this is actually 11 days earlier than planned. I don't know why. I think that everyone kind of thought, hey, maybe they're trying to move out of the way for Grand Theft Auto a little bit. I think they are owned by the same parent company, up the ladder, and maybe they got tipped off on some information, but then I think it was either that same day or the next day GTA got delayed. But Borderlands 4 got moved up on its release by 11 days, so now going to release on September 12th, 2025. The developer is Gearbox Studios, and the back of the box talk on Borderlands 4 is Borderlands 4 brings intense action, badass vault hunters, and billions of wild and deadly weapons to an all-new planet ruled by a ruthless tyrant. So Borderlands is a franchise I had fun with back in the day on the 360. I'll be interested to see the reception to this. Not going to be something I jump into right away, but I would like a good revitalization of the Borderlands franchise. I think that could be something I could get into, and I am in a wait-and-see mode there. So Borderlands 4 got a new release date, September 12th, 2025, up by 11 days. All right, something, I don't know if this got announced, or maybe this date got announced as the news here, but Sea of Stars has a free DLC pack coming, The Throes of the Watchmaker, and they have a new release date trailer out there that you can go watch. And this Throes of the Watchmaker DLC for Sea of Stars is going to release on May 20th, 2025, so only a couple of weeks away. This free DLC is going to offer over 8 hours of completely new areas, music, dungeons, minigames, enemies, bosses, and puzzles. New playable classes for Valerie and Zale, and a new playable character, Artie. So this is also going to add local co-op with up to 3 players. I think Sea of Stars is a pretty cool game, something I played on the Switch for a while, and something I would like to get back into in the future. But the free DLC is coming. I think that's pretty interesting and nice, and maybe that would be a good reason to get back into some Sea of Stars. All right, what else do I got for you today? Oh, excuse me. Sorry if the audio did something there. All right, somebody going down the road with their loud car. All right, what else do I have for you today on the news? The last thing I want to talk about is some Nintendo Nintendo information. And this one is actually not Nintendo Switch related. This one is Nintendo Switch update related. So the Nintendo Switch 1, the original Switch, has had a system update last week. This is actually version 20.0.0. It released on April 29th, 2025 with a slew of new features. And I'm going to tell you what's going on with that new system update for the Switch. They have added the following icons for the new features have been added to the home menu. So we now have a virtual game card icon. So purchased Nintendo digital software, DLC, and some free software are now virtual game cards and displayed in a list in this menu. You can virtually load and eject virtual game cards between up to 2 Nintendo Switch systems. Virtual game cards can be lent to others in the same Nintendo Switch account family group. So the other new icon is one called Game Share. Compatible software can be shared from a Nintendo Switch 2 system to other nearby systems to play together. You can only play together via local wireless, and the Nintendo Switch 2 system must initiate game share. This feature cannot be used between two Nintendo Switch OLED, and or Nintendo Switch Lite systems. So I think it's interesting that they have this icon on the Nintendo Switch menu when it can't actually be used. I think it's a little bit confusing and not very understandable to me. I don't think these two UIs need to be exactly the same, but if that's the case, then it's just a little bit strange here on that one. This update has also added user verification settings have been added under user/settings. You can now restrict access to the virtual game card menu by requiring entry of a PIN or signing into your Nintendo account. So all you really need to know here is that the virtual game cards are now your digital files, your downloads, that's what they're calling them. The online license settings have been added. When turned on, you can play downloaded software or DLC you purchased while the system is connected to the internet, even if you don't have the virtual game card loaded. The Nintendo eShop and Nintendo Switch News icon colors on the home menu have been changed. Multiple save data can be selected and transferred at once in Transfer Your Save Data menu. And also a system transfer to Nintendo Switch 2 has been added under System Settings, System. So you can perform a system transfer from your Nintendo Switch to Nintendo Switch 2 using local communication. For users that will lose access to their Nintendo Switch before receiving their Nintendo Switch 2, there is an option to upload system transfer data to a dedicated server, which can then be retrieved on their Nintendo Switch 2. After you upload your system transfer data to the dedicated server, the Nintendo Switch system will be initialized to factory settings, so only perform this transfer if you'll be able to complete the transfer on Nintendo Switch 2. If you want to continue using your Nintendo Switch until you have a Nintendo Switch 2, we recommend completing the system transfer using local communication after you acquired a Nintendo Switch 2. An internet connection and Nintendo account is required to complete both local and the server-based transfer service. The appearance of some user icons have also been updated. So that's everything from the recent Nintendo Switch update. If you go actually do this update, you're going to notice that it does look a little bit different, and it's pretty interesting. So nice to see a system update, and that is all the details from the version 20.0.0 update for the Nintendo Switch released on April 29th, 2025. So the last bit of information here is just a placeholder. The last thing to talk about this in the midsection this week is just a placeholder for Nintendo Switch 2. So waiting on that console to release on June 5th, 2025. It's looking like my launch day is going to be consisting of playing Mario Kart World, and I want to play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with the upgrade. Since I'm into playing Breath of the Wild right now, I'm going to look forward to playing it on the Switch 2. So getting my save transferred over, hopefully that'll be an easy process. It looks like they're taking care of some of that with that new system update going on. So it looks like they're being considerate of my saves already, and I am excited to do so. So everything in my video game brain is looking forward to the Switch 2 on June 5th, and I can't wait for it. So that's everything I have for you in the midsection this week. All the video game news and information you need to know. So we talked about Grand Theft Auto being delayed. We talked about the Xbox pricing update. We talked about the EA layoffs, the Polygon layoffs. We talked about the GiantBomb.com changes changes is what we're going to call them. We talked about the upcoming May releases, Doom the Dark Ages and Elden Ring Nightreign. We talked about Borderlands 4 getting a moved up release date to September 12th. We talked about Sea of Stars. We talked about the Nintendo Switch system update and just the Nintendo Switch 2 in general. So that's everything I have for you on the video game front this week. We still have one final section of the show left, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So listen to this music and come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 127 after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 127, the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So this one's going to be really short and sweet today. I just want to do a quick rundown of the worldwide world of sports and what's going on with my favorite teams. And there's not really a whole lot to report this week. So starting with the NFL, my favorite team, the Carolina Panthers, they're just in the offseason right now. They actually signed Hunter Renfrow, was the news from them this week. So wide receiver who did not play in the league last week. I think he played most of his career with the Raiders, or all of his career. And he is going to come try to contribute to the Panthers. So the Panthers are building out their wide receiver room. They got Renfrow, they got Thielen, they got Xavier Legette, they got Jalen Coker, and they got T-Mac, the new guy. And then they got some tight ends in the mix there too. So there could be some good stuff here going on with the Panthers receiver room. And adding Hunter Renfrow is definitely an interesting thing. He has some experience. I think it's surprising he didn't play at all last year, so I don't really know what's up with that, but excited to see what they're going to do. So the only other NFL thing to remember is we have the schedule release coming up on May 14th. That's really the next big thing looking forward to in the NFL world, and that is everything I got to say about the Carolina Panthers today. The NBA, nothing to report on my fandom there. I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets. They're in the offseason, and then I'm a full-time fan of the Hawks and offseason there. So nothing to report there. The NBA playoffs are going on. The T-Wolves have been playing good and waiting to get down to some of those later matches. So I haven't been really watching too much of the NBA. I've been mainly focused on my favorite sport in the universe that's going on right now, Major League Baseball. So the Atlanta Braves, what's been going on with them since last week? So last Sunday they played at Arizona. It was an afternoon game around 4 p.m., so it happened after the podcast or later in the day. And the Braves lost 4-6. So that was actually the one that I was playing some Balatro and watching the Braves, so having some fun there. Then the Braves started the week at Colorado for 3 games. Monday at Colorado, the Braves won 6-3. Tuesday at Colorado, the Braves won 8-2, as they should. And then Wednesday, it was a 3 p.m. start, and the Braves lost 1-2. So a little bit surprising there. The Braves probably should have swept Colorado because they've been pretty trash this year. But, I like Colorado in general, so I'm not too surprised they can go in there and get one feisty win. And then the Braves have had the tall task this weekend, so they had a day off Thursday, and then the tall task for the weekend has been playing the Dodgers in Atlanta. So a rematch of the beatdown from earlier in the year. And Friday versus the Dodgers, the Braves lost 1-2. And Saturday versus the Dodgers last night, there was a giant rain delay. We had some pretty crazy weather here in North Carolina, and usually that weather is coming up from Atlanta or Georgia, so not surprising to see that game get delayed. But it got delayed till a lot later in the day, and the Braves ended up losing 3-10. So I didn't really get to watch too much of that. It started around 10:30 or 11, and I don't even know if Fox was broadcasting it at that point. Today, the Braves play tonight against the Dodgers, Sunday Night Baseball, so no Balatro and baseball to consider today, so that's one thing for me to note. I'll probably just play some Breath of the Wild today. But the Braves are playing the Dodgers tonight at 7 p.m. to end the week, and I'll have to let you know next week what happens in that game. So next week, the Braves have a complete week of baseball, not a day off. They're playing at home in Atlanta versus the Reds for 4 games, and then they're going to Pittsburgh for 3 against the Pirates. So what a wonderful week of baseball. I think those are all going to be normal start times. I would think maybe the Thursday game against the Reds is going to be an early game, and I think they should be all in the 7 o'clock range for Eastern Standard Time, so I appreciate that over here on the East Coast. So go Braves and go all my teams is the main thing I want to say here. So that's everything I really have for you in the Miscellaneous Talk section today. Not too much going on around the sports world besides watching baseball, and I am okay with that because I love the baseball out here. So we talked about the Panthers, we talked about the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves, and I don't have any just general MLB news for you. I'm trying to think of other sports things I want to talk about. Hockey's going on right now in the playoffs. I haven't really been watching too much of that, and we're getting into the golf season is pretty much in full fling now too. But hey, I'm a baseball guy over here, so go Braves. All right, so that's everything I have for you for the Miscellaneous Talk section today, and that's everything I have for you for the entire show today. So I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. Catch me every Sunday afternoon, USA Eastern Standard Time, streaming for a couple of hours. So come check me out over there on Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And just thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope you have a great day out there in the world. Whenever you're listening to this, maybe you're listening to this 10 years in the future for a look back on the video game world pre-Switch 2. So, whenever you're listening to this, I hope you're doing great. If you're not doing great, I hope things get better. And I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. I hope you play some video games. I hope you watch some sports. I hope next week there is less bummer video game news to report, such as layoffs and delays and things like that. So hopefully next week will be a little bit better in that regard. But, have a wonderful week out there in the world. Thank you for being a Dep Lewis Show listener, and I will talk to you next time.